Hello friends, subscribers and new viewers of this channel, and welcome to Linux tutorials for robotics and machine learning. In this Linux tutorial, we explain how to create, copy, move and delete files and folders in Linux Ubuntu. These are the basic operations that every engineer needs to know how to perform in the Linux operating system. So let's immediately start. First of all, I will minimize this manual over here, and this manual will stay open while I'm explaining how to perform the basic operations. Next, let's start a terminal. Click here and search for terminal. It really doesn't matter the version of Linux Ubuntu you're currently using. If you want to know what I'm currently using, I can type this command and you will see my Linux version. I'm using the newest Linux version. Okay, so the first step is to learn how to create different directories. Let's go to the home folder. We do it like this. Tilde is a shortcut for the home folder, and then you can also type this command to see where you are. Let's create a new folder called dir1. To do that, we need to use this command. Make directory, or in short mkdir, and I will call my directory directory1. Now, the next thing that you need to learn is how to create several directories at the same time. For example, let's create another directory, and inside of that directory let's create a subfolder or a subdirectory or a child directory, if you like to call it like that. To do that, we need to use this option P. Then we specify the name of the base directory, and inside we specify the name of a child directory. Once we execute this command, two folders or directories will be created. Directory 2 and subdirectory 1. Okay, let's now see where they are. If I now scroll all the way up, you will see them over here. This is directory 2. So let's navigate to directory 2. To do that, we need to type the command cd and name of the directory, and over here we need to use ls-la to list the content, and you can see that we have created inside a child directory called subdirectory 1. Good. Let's continue. Let's learn how to navigate to different directories and to go back to the home folder, or to go one step back or one step forward. To go to our new directory, you have several options. Its name is subdirectory 1. You can, for example, type subdirectory 1 with the cd command, and you will go inside of that directory. And over here, you'll see it's an empty directory. To go back to our parent directory, you need to do cd with 2 periods or with the 2 dots, and you're back. To go back to the home folder, you simply need to do cd and the shortcut for the home folder, and you will see where you are currently. You're currently in the home folder, and over here is my username. Good. Next, let's learn how to erase directories. First of all, let's make sure that we are in the home folder, which we are, and let's erase the directory called dir2 or directory 2. To do that, we simply need to use the command rm, and over here we need to use this option R. This option is very important. This option will tell to erase the directory and to erase all the files and the folders inside of this directory. So let's type rm-r directory 2, and right now if I try to move to directory 2, you will see bash cd directory 2, no such file or directory. Good. However, sometimes it's a good idea to use rm command with an additional option -v. This option will print what has been erased, and the option -v stands for verbose. Let's illustrate this command. Let's again create a new directory. Again, I will do this, and let's list the content of directory 2, And notice what I'm doing currently. To list the content, I'm just specifying the absolute path of the content. That is, this command ls-la work like this. If you're in the current folder and you just type ls-la, you will list the content of the current folder. However, if you want to list a content of some other folder, you need to specify the absolute path. And if I execute this, you will see the content of the directory 2. Now, if I type rm rv directory 2, you will see the verbose output. You can see what we have just done. We removed directory called directory 2 sub, which is a child directory of directory 2, and we removed directory 2. Now, let's learn how to create empty files. First of all, let's recreate directory 2, and to create a file inside of this directory, we need to use the command touch. Touch creates an empty file, and we need to specify the path where we want to create this file. Over here, I'm going to create a file inside of the directory 2, and I will call it as file 1 or file 2, for example. Here you can also add the extension as text or whatever you would like to do. However, I will create a file without the extension. So let's now list the content of this directory, and you can see over here that we have created a file. This is a very powerful option. Now, what is another thing that you need to learn when creating directories and when creating different files? A very important command is to add a line or a text line to a certain file. How to do that? To do that, we need to use the command echo. After the command echo, we need to specify a series of characters or a text or even a string that we want to add to our file. Over here, for a test, I will just write, this is the first line. And after text, we need to type this operator. This operator over here is used to redirect the output of one command to another command or even to file. In our case, we will simply take this line and echo it to a file. And over here, since we are in the home folder, we need to specify the path to the file. Here it is. Okay, so let's press enter and let's see what's actually happening. Now, let's go to this folder over here and let's list the content and let's display the content of the file. To do that, we simply need to type cat file2 and you can see the content of the file. This is the first line. We can also use gedit if you have a gedit or any other editor to see the actual file. So if you type this, you'll see that the file contains this line. Good. Now, let us repeat this whole operation. However, this time let's add another string. This is the second line. And over here, let's use the same operator. And since we are in directory 2, we don't need to specify the absolute path. We just need to specify the name of the file. And here it is. Now, again, here is the file. And let's list the content of the file. And look what happened. This is the first line, and we're expecting that this operator will keep the first line and it will add the second line. However, this thing didn't happen. This is the second line. That is, this operator over here erased the content of the file, and instead of this content, wrote this line over here. To fix this problem, we need to use something else. But for the time being, let's erase our file. To do that, we simply need to type rm file2. And let's list the content. Now let's create again touch file2. And over here, let's add the first line echo. Then this is the first line. Then again, I will use this operator. And the name of the file is file2. Let's list this file. Oops, here it is. And let's add the second line. To add the second line, we will write, this is the second line, and instead of this operator, we're going to double it. That is, the second operator that looks like this will append the content of the file. That is, it's not going to erase the current content of the file, it will just append it with this line. And let's type file 2. And now, oops, I made an error here. I need to do this. And now let's type cat file 2. And here it is. Now over here I created an error since I actually executed this command twice. However, you get the main. Let's erase the file once again. So to erase the file, we need to use the same command that's used to erase the folders. It's called rm, and over here I will specify the name of the file. However, what if you want to erase several files? How to do that? First of all, let's create several files. Again, we can use the touch command, and in single line we can actually create several files. Let's create, for example, 5 files. Here they are. Good. And let's list the content, and let's say that we want to erase all of these files. To erase the files, we need to use the asterisk operator. Here is how it looks. What will happen now? We are going to erase all the files inside of this folder. However, we are not going to erase the hidden files. I will explain how to erase hidden files later on. So if I run now this command, bang, everything is being erased. And let's see, the folder is completely empty. Now let's repeat the touch command over here. And let me show you one trick. Whenever you would like to erase something, or you want to confirm that things are being erased, use this option V, -V. That is, use the verbose option. This will actually print what's currently happening. So if I execute this, you can see what's being removed. File 1, file 2, file 3, file 4, and file 5. Next, I will explain how to erase hidden files. So let's create several files. So let's create file 1, file 2, and file 3. These are not hidden files. In the Linux operating system, or generally speaking in the Unix operating system, hidden files start with a dot. So let's create hidden files. Touch, let's do file 4 and dot file 5. Okay. Now if I list the content of the folder, I can see these 3 files that are not hidden files, and I can see these files, .file 4 and .file 5. How do I know that these files are hidden? Namely, if you just type ls-l, you will not see these hidden files. That's why I'm always using ls-la. By typing this command, I'm also displaying the content of the folder that also includes hidden files. Now, let's type this, rm star, and let's see what happens. Okay, the files that are not hidden are erased. However, the files starting with dot, that is, the hidden files, are not erased. So how to erase hidden files? First of all, let's recreate files that are not hidden, for example, these 3 files, and to erase all the files, including the hidden files, we actually need to execute a modified command. That is, we need to execute this. rm verbose, let's use verbose to print everything, and here comes the power of Linux operating system. Over here, I can use these curly braces and I can specify this. I want to erase everything, and then I want to erase everything that starts with a dot and has any other string inside of it. And here it is. If you execute this, we can see that we erased everything. Next, we explain how to rename and move files and folders. In the Linux and Unix worlds, moving and renaming files and folders are the same thing. First of all, let's clean up all the folders and files we just created. Let's erase directory 2, and let's use the verbose option. Here it is. and then let's erase directory 1. Okay, now let's make sure that we are in the home folder, and let's continue. Let's create a new directory. I will call it directory 3, and let's create a new file inside of this directory. To do that, we will simply need to type touch, and then we need to specify the path where we want to create. Let's create in directory 2, file called file2. Okay, next, let's add, for example, some new line to this file. So let's do this, new line. Where do we want to add? We want to add to file2. Let's now show the content of the file2, and look here what I did. I created an error. I don't want to do this. I actually want to do this. Right, I wanted to do this. This is what I need to do. So let's now show the content of the file. Here it is. It's new line. Next, let's navigate to this folder and let's rename this file. Let's call this file2 file3. To do that, we need to use this command mv. mv command is used to rename and to move the files. That is, from the Linux or Unix point of view, move and rename is the same thing. Over here, we need to specify the source file or the source folder, and the next input argument is the destination file or the destination folder. So over here, the source file is file2. This is the original file, and I will rename this file like this. So again, this is the source file, this is the destination file. We are not moving here, we are just renaming. So let's do this, and let's now show the content. We can see that instead of file2, we have file3, and let's make sure that this is the exact file. We can do that by showing the content of the file, and we can see that this file contains new line. Next, we explain how to move a file from one folder to another. For that purpose, let's create a new folder. We can use the make directory command, and over here we just need to specify the absolute path. This command will create a directory called directory 4 inside of the home folder. So let's execute this, and let's copy, or actually say, let's move file 3 from directory 3 to directory 4. To do that, we simply need to type move again, source file, here it is, and the destination file, or better to say the destination folder. Here we simply need to type this. Here we are moving file 3 from the current folder to the folder directory 4 inside of the home folder. So let's do this. Let's make sure that we perform the move operation. We can see that the directory 3 is empty, and let's list the content of the directory 4. Here you need to specify the exact path, and here it is. We can see that in the directory 4 we have the file called file3. Note over here that I didn't change the path to the directory 4. That is, I can call ls-la directly from my current folder. Good. Let us learn now how to move one folder to another. To do that, let's first clean everything. So we need to remove directory 3. Notice over here how I'm moving, or better to say removing directory 3. I'm using the option R, and this option is necessary since I want to erase everything inside of directory 3. And after that, let's erase directory 4, and over here for practice, let's use the option verbose to show what we are actually doing. You can see that we remove the file and then we remove the directory. And let's create a new folder. First of all, let's make sure that we are in the home folder, and let's create folder 1, and let's create folder 2. Okay, now we have two folders in the home folder. Next, let's create files inside of folder 1. To do that, we will use touch command, we need to specify the path, and we need to specify the name of the file. Here I'll create actually two files, and I will specify the correct paths. They're text files. Okay, so here they are. Let's list the content of the folder 1. Here it is. We have folder 1. Now, here I created an issue since I don't want to have inside of folder 2 file.txt. Consequently, I will repeat this command, and over here I will change this and this. This will create file 3 inside of the folder 1, and if I now do this, you can see that everything is okay. Good. Now, I will move the folder 1 to folder 2. So how to do that? Well, again, we need to use the command mv. Let's use the option verbose. Then the source folder is given over here, and the destination folder is given over here. And that's it. Bang. And you can see what happened over here. That's it. Let's now list the content. First of all, let's try to move to folder 1, and you can see that we cannot move to folder 1. This is because folder 1 is actually being moved. But moved where? Let's see. Let's list the content of the folder 2, and you can see that inside of the folder 2 we have the file we created, and we copy or moved, but not copied, moved folder 1. So let's navigate to the folder 2, then let's list the content, and let's go one step down the tree. Let's go to the folder 1, and let's list the content, and voila, here it is. You can see all the files are here. Next, let's create two subfolders inside of the folder 2. So let's go one step back, and over here I can type create a directory, and I will call the first folder subfolder 2, and another one will be called subfolder 3. So let's list the content. Here they are. And let's now move the content of the folder 2 to the new folder 3. However, I'm not going to copy, or actually to move exactly folder 2. I'm just going to move the content of that folder. First of all, let's create a new folder called folder 3. Over here we need to specify the absolute path, and let's type this. Move what we want to move. This is very important. So over here I will type this, move folder 2, then here I will use the asterisk symbol to say that I want to move everything from folder 2 to folder 3. And over here let's specify the destination, and let's use the verbose option, and let's see what will happen. Let's now list the content of the folder 2. As you can see, folder 2 is completely empty, right? Now let's go back to the folder 3. Oops, I didn't want to do that. I wanted to go to folder 3, and let's list the content, and you can see that the content is being moved. Perfect. Next, let's clean up everything. So let's go here, and let's type this rm rv folder 2. Let's remove folder 3. And next, let's explain how to copy the files and folders. To do that, we need to use the command cp. This command is actually equivalent to the move command mv, except for the fact that the cp command only copies files and folders. Since we already explained the move command, we will just briefly go over the cp command. First of all, let's create several new directories. I will call the first directory is directory 5, the second one is directory 6, and then inside of these directories I will create several files. So to do that, I will use touch. Inside of directory 5 I will create file1.txt. Then inside of directory 5 I will create file2.txt, and look now what I can do. I can even create inside of directory 6 a file. I will call it file3.txt, and that's it. So now let's list the content of the folders. Okay, you can see that we have in the folder directory 5, file 1, file 2. Let's see the directory 6. Here it is. Perfect. Now, what I will do, I will copy file 1 from directory 5 folder to the directory 6 folder. And to do that, I simply need to type cp, standing for copy. Let's use the verbose option. Let's specify the path to the file, file1.txt, and over here I just need to specify the name of the destination folder. Here it is. And you can see what actually happened. And let's now list the content of the destination folder. Here it is. We can see now that in the destination folder we have file1.txt. Next, let's learn how to copy the complete folder. To do that, we need to do modification. Namely, we need to use an option recursive. This means that we will copy folders from one folder to another folder. First of all, we need to specify the path of the source folder and the path of the destination folder. And if I press this, and if I now list the content of the folder 6, I will see that inside I have directory 5 and everything is the same. Let's now list the content of directory 6 and its child folder called directory 5, and let's compare this content with directory 5, and we can see that the content is identical. Okay, that's all for today, and thanks for watching.